Hi, my name is Rachel Lindsay, and I chose to do my presentation on the CVS case study. I really like this case study because I felt like I really learned how the strategy part of marketing becomes important in this case study as compared to the other case study that we looked at with Snuggie. I felt like that didn't really highlight that as much because we didn't really do as many analysis in that case study. Going into Porter's 5 force analysis, looking at the threats of new entrants, I rated that as low for CVS because there's basically 4 chains within this industry, CVS being one of them, and they more or less kind of all have equal market share, but in different regions. So they are competitors and they do compete, but because of having different regional bases, they aren't kind of at each other's throats. It's kind of like a Pepsi Coke dynamic in areas where you see them both in the same marketplace. You'll see one run ads one week and then the next run like sales the next week. So a lot of the time there's not a ton of direct competition between them. So yeah, I said that was pretty low. The threat of new substitutes, I rated as moderate because there's a lot of new online competition because of the technological advancements that have come up that I don't really see CVS really addressing at this point. So obviously, as previously discussed, on the brick and mortar side, it's pretty low. If you need a certain prescription or something filled and you only have CVS pharmacies in your area, that's kind of your only option for the most part in the past, or at least that has been. Well, now a lot of prescriptions you can get filled online through different pharmacies online, or you can get different services where they'll do the whole process for you online, so you don't even have to make a doctor's appointment. I know I've done this personally because I work a lot of crazy hours and can't always make it to my doctor. And then everything kind of just gets mailed to my house, and that's super convenient. I actually suggested in my paper that CVS integrate more services into their online into their website because they currently offer consult services in their brick and mortar stores that they could be capable of doing something similar to this, but I haven't seen them do it on their website, and I feel like it's just lost revenue and they're not really competing at this point. So that is why I've rated that as moderate. The bargaining power of customers is low because with it being in the pharmaceutical industry, these big pharmaceutical companies basically hold all of the power over the pricing, and as we've seen with certain drugs, they take it to extremes because they know that people will literally pay whatever it takes because their life depends on it. And unfortunately, pharmacy companies kind of get stuck in the middle of it because they want to be able to have this product because they need the customer and they don't get to determine the price. The bargaining power of suppliers is moderate because certain suppliers tend to have control over certain drugs that CVS can offer to consumers. So CVS obviously wants to be able to offer all the prescriptions that they can to the consumer so that consumer doesn't have to go to a different pharmacy if they need that specific drug. However, the drug companies will often try to lowball them because they know that they're vulnerable in this area. So it's kind of a power struggle on both ends until they can come to an agreement. The level of competitive rivalry is moderate because of the new competition that is coming up in the technological areas. And also, CVS is kind of making it hard for their own brick and mortar stores with their current price strategies for their website, because they price items on their website much lower than what they are in store. Customers don't really want to buy things in the store and end up getting upset. This case has really shown me that there's a lot more marketing complexities when you're dealing with anything within the drug industry, because certain things you can't advertise, or you have to be very careful about how you advertise them, which kind of really limits the marketing abilities of a company, especially when you're trying to roll out like online prescription services or mail to order prescription services. All that stuff is very highly regulated. And also, as we saw in the case study, CVS got into hot water with their customers because they were mailing out these reminder refills that just went to the customer's address that showed, what prescriptions customers were getting. And obviously some customers are on sensitive medications that they don't want just anybody to see. And I believe the example that the case study used was Viagra. And that would be a very sensitive topic that not everybody would want someone to know that you were getting that filled. So it's kind of been a learning curve for them to learn how to use customer data to their advantage without losing customers because they've made poor choices with it. I also think that when doing the analysis, it showed me that like how important it is to combine products with services and use things to the best of their ability. Like when I was doing my BCG matrix, my suggestion was that they combine their online prescription services with their consult services in order to get that into the next quadrant and make more money off of the same thing, which would make more revenue long term from a shorter investment. And just kind of thinking about that from a marketing perspective was really interesting. Another thing that I thought was really interesting in this case was that I think CVS was one of the first to think about going online from the pharmacy perspective, but I don't think that they've really done much sense to upgrade and learn what modern consumers want, and that's really hurt them as far as using loyalty to their advantage and providing programs that make their customers happy to order either online or in their brick and mortar stores. So that's something that they could really improve upon, because you don't want to make your brick and mortar stores obsolete at the same time. You want things to be efficient on both ends. Yep, so that's really what I got from this case. Thanks for listening.